our special requirements, level 10, we need a minimum of 1 C flight skill, a second flight skill, at least a B, and then a minimum of a C turn. And it could be an LA turn, could be a giant half, could be a bail that has a half turn over the low bar, anything that has a long axis turn. It doesn't have to be a salto. So a C element, and then you can't use the mount or the dismount in that particular requirement, and then a C salto dismount. So our start value at level 10 starts at a 9.5. We are looking for 3 A's, 3 B's, and 2 C's. Make sure that you count those elements all the time. Most of the routines have more than enough elements, but every now and then one will seem kind of short, and you'll hope that she has at least 8 things that count and at least 3 B's and 2 C's. Remember that when you're counting those elements, a higher level skill, a C or a D or an E, can always count for a lower valued skill, like a B or an A, but needed to. Our special requirements are worth 5/10 each, and we are allowed to earn 5/10 in bonus from our 9.5. So you write your 9.5 on your paper, you check, does she have 3 A's, 3 B's, 2 C's? Good. Does she have the 4 special requirements? Yes. And then you add in the bonus that she got to get to her 10.0 start value. Remember, level 10 doesn't have any restrictions. Level 10, they can do everything, D's and E's. But if you do a D, you can only give D bonus credit for it 1 time. So she could do a Tkachev, then go back and do another one later. She's not going to get another D bonus for the second one. But if she does a D or E skill, so let's say it was a Tkachev, and she doesn't even touch the bar, which this is not uncommon that they go for it and they're away from the bar and they land on the mat on their stomach. But if that happens, then of course it's a 0 value. But she can repeat that skill. Typically, they will get up and do it again if they know they can make it, because they want the bonus for it and they're trying to connect it to something else. So if she doesn't touch the bar the first time, it's a 0. But she can get up and do it again in a different combination. Well, if she doesn't fall, you know it's a different combination. She would get the D credit that time of the +1. Okay, when a D or E release element is followed in direct connection to a B release skill, the B can be raised to a C and then be awarded the connective value of D plus C and get that +1. So an example would be when they do a release on the high bar like a Ginger, and then out of the Ginger, they do an overshoot, which is really just a B bail over the low bar, then that B raises to C. And because she did it out of a D release, and the D release did come from a handstand originally, then she would be able to get the D plus C and then get that D credit and the +1. We know that our start is at 9.5. We can get 5/10 in bonus, but at level 10, we can earn an additional 1/10 bonus for an E skill. So then their start value would actually be a 10 + 1. It's not a 10-1 because you can't give a score of a 10-1. You can only give a 10-0 as the highest score. But any E on bars is eligible for that extra +1. The rules are that they have to have a 10-0 start to begin with. All their special requirements and obviously difficulty has to be fulfilled, and they have to have at least 6/10 in bonus. So they only really need 5 to get the 10-0 start, but to get the 10 + 1, they have to have 6. And one of those skills has to be an E. Let's talk about other bonus. If you have 2 C skills and they each have to have turn or flight, you can get +1. If you connect 2 C skills and they are 3, 6, 7 groups, your clear hips, your toe-ons, your stalders, and they don't have to have a turn or flight, you can get +1. Or if you connect a C plus D or a C plus E connection, no turn or flight required in the D's or E's, you can get +1. But then you have to have 2 D's to get the +2, and D's, it doesn't matter if they have turn or flight. So we do have some skills that have been changed this year. 6 of the skills have a higher value now. And they're all 3, 6, 7 group skills. So the 3, 6, 7 group, of course, are your toe-ons, your clear hips, and your stalders. Those skills that have a half turn to a reverse grip, a mixed grip, or an inverted grip have gone up in value to D. So your clear hip circle with a half turn to a different grip is a D. Now, a lot of them will do a giant blind. The giants have not been raised with the half turn to the reverse grip. So it's got to be the clear hip, or it's got to be the toe-on. So it's the same thing on the toe-on. So we have the half turns from the toe-on position to a different grip, and they went to D. Also, we have the stalders. So the stalder half turn to reverse grip, or mixed grip, or cross mixed grip. Those are all, or invert grip. They all go to D. We do have also the full turns. So the clear hip to handstand with a full turn, the toe-on handstand with a full turn, the stalder handstand backward with the full turn, all went to E. So those are opportunities for them to get that +1 because they're E value skills. A couple things about composition on bars. So on bars, we only have 2 areas that we look at. One is the choice of the release elements is up to 2/10. What do you have to get no deduction? 2 D's. 2 D's or better releases. And then everything else works its way down to or up to the 2/10. We also have choice of the dismount of up to 1. So if anybody has a D or higher dismount, they don't have a problem. If anybody has a D skill into a C dismount, no problem. If it's less than that, then we start to take deductions. So choice of elements is up to 2/10. So we want to see different groups of skills, not just the same family throughout their routine. Failure to perform 2 of the 3 different groups is -1/10. They need to show us a forward circle or release, minimum of B. A forward circle would be a front giant. A release would be a Jaeger or other things that circle forward. Then they could show us 3, 6, 7 skill, minimum of B. So that would be your clear hip, stalder, and toe-on. And then they can choose to show us an element with a 180 turn. Now the 180 turn, minimum of C, does not have to be a pirouette. Originally, this was a pirouette. Now it's a 180 turn. So it can be a bail, could be a ginger. It just has to be on the bar, cannot be in the mount or dismount. So 2 of those out of 3, and then they're good. This is a new rule for this year. So in the past, we had the deduction of 1/10 for more than 1 squat on the low bar or toe circle around. If they did 2, then they get the 1/10 off. But now our new rule is if the gymnast falls, we are allowing her to do another squat on the low bar with no deduction after a fall. The thing that we want to be aware of is, remember, after a fall, our judging and optionals starts when they do an element. So if she does a crummy glide and doesn't extend or doesn't point her feet or knees are bent, we're taking off. If she does a kip and kips up to a front support and stops, and then does a cast squat on, now she has an extra swing. So we're not taking the 1/10 for the squat on, but we have to still be aware of what the skills are she is doing and take off execution appropriately. That was just a quick review. So now we're going to judge.